Mhm. And then I want to pull out the. All right, that's D&D. Um, go live. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, so we're back. I'm my own IT person. I think I did a good job. All right. So hey everybody. So I'm looking at y'all on YouTube and I'm looking at you on a third party app. So I'm wanting to make sure I can see the chat. So give me a second. That's what I was doing. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, I just want to make sure I can see the chat and it didn't come up, but that's okay. Um, let's see. Maybe let me see it. All right. I just want to make sure it's not connecting in two places. Hey Marlon, how you doing? It does look like I might be in two places. Hey everybody. Um, okay. So the reason I scheduled this live today, what I wanted to talk about, the caption is correct. It says Coach Prime said it best. And it makes me feel like we're on the same, we might all be starting to get on the same page with what's going on with Shador. Um, Thank you, Marlon. Thank you for the support because we are definitely using it to upgrade. Um, we all know, right? That Shedeur Sanders is in a situation, right? We saw it in the draft. We see it in Cleveland. It's undeniable, right? If I had to ask you what's going on with Shedeur in Cleveland, drop it in the chat. A brief summation of what you think is happening to Shedeur in Cleveland. So Coach Prime said today, hold on. He said today that, hold on, let me see. Hold and remember, when Coach Prime drops the daily message, it's not necessarily about this, but there are things that speak to events that are taking place, right? And this is what it said today. It says, you've got to roll up your sleeves and fight. This ain't no ordinary attack. This is a real sophisticated, highly educated attack. This enemy knows this enemy knows you and knows your weaknesses. You will claim the victory if you don't quit, give up or give in. Now, there are going to be people that read that and they see nothing. But then when you look at what's been happening with Shador, we said it. This is not an ordinary situation where Shador can just go ball out and he'll still be given the opportunity to shine, right, in the game. We see he had the least amount of reps, right? We see he had the least amount of reps and what else, right? We see that he's not being given the full opportunity to ball out. He's not. I mean, if you look at the reps, he had the least amount of reps. What he did is what they hoped he did not do. He did the most with the least. That means he's efficient. He's on the MVP path. When you're the most valuable player, you're likely the most efficient to do it. Everybody plays the same amount, everybody plays the same amount of games, right? But it's what you do with the time you're given. You have some players that might play the whole game, but don't score any points. And then you have some players, they might just get the first quarter or the first half, and what happens? They ball out. They put the team up, they put the team ahead. Now it's up to the coaches to either capitalize off the lead and let the star shine, or you bench the star and give it to somebody else that eats up the lead and y'all lose the game. I've seen it happen with the Chicago Sky, and we probably gonna see it happen right here in the NFL in Cleveland because there's an agenda and people are giving Shador advice as if they don't know that there's an agenda. There is nothing else Shador can do. He came into the NFL draft the most battle tested quarterback, right? He came into the draft as the best guarantee to start and win because we know what he can do, right? Yes, Cam is a good quarterback, but we don't know what he can do under certain situations. Unfortunately, we had the opportunity for 2 years at CU, after 2 years at Jackson State of balling out, going to CU and dealing with adversity that most quarterbacks had not faced at that level. And some that had it easy because maybe they had good coaching or a good team, or they weren't under pressure a lot because they had a good O line. They're gonna get to the league and they're gonna find out. They're gonna find out. But see, with Shedeur, we already know what he could do. And then what happens when he gets to Cleveland? He does the most. He has the most output, the most productivity with the least amount of reps. But did they give him the opportunity with first team reps? Seemingly no. Kevin Stefanski said yes, but we didn't see it publicly. Why not? Those are questions that people are asking. Why is this young man being excluded? Why is he being held back? And what Coach Prime said is correct because this is not an ordinary fight. He used the term, this is an educated attack. This is strategic. That's what I'm going to say. It's strategic. This is intentional. It's strategic. They thought about it. They know exactly who you are. And they know if I keep you away from QB1, we're not going to see what it is that you could do. Because we don't want to see that. If they wanted to see it, they would see it. So Shedeur is the same, in my opinion, has done all he could do, done absolutely the best with the least amount of time. And all they're doing in 5 weeks off is what? Moving the goalpost, right? Moving the goalpost by saying, well, he probably didn't get the first team rep, so we can't start him. They trying to figure out when they come back in training camp how to continue more of the same or how to pacify the fans who want to see Shedeur, Cleveland fans who want to win, but then also keep him away from QB1. And there's only one way to do that. I can put him out there, but not for a long time. Sure, I can let you see him in the preseason all you want because that don't matter. But when we get to the real games, you know what they're going to say? Joe Flacco's the veteran, so let's let him start. That's if he's still in Cleveland because there's some talk that he might be gone, and it wouldn't surprise me. So Coach Prime is right when he uses the word, this is an educated attack. It's strategic. Educated. They know what they're doing. These are my interpretations, but that's what they say to me. So I feel like we all might be on the same page in regards of what's happening to Shedeur. This is not a fair fight. You're not being given a fair opportunity at all. So let's talk about the advice. I heard one piece of advice that Shedeur got today, and I just shook my head. And I know this man might be well intentioned. He's a Colorado Buff forever himself. Um, you know, people telling Shedeur what he should do and not speaking to what Cleveland has already done is futile. I mean, it's more of the same. And I'm looking at the people who play football, and I'm looking at the people behind the microphones with these platforms, pushing these narratives, moving the goalposts, trying to act like they see what's going on, but then also following it up with more foolishness. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we're all on the same page. They have an agenda. So Shedeur is not in a fair fight in Cleveland. We already talked about he was in a toxic environment. Not a surprise he got 2 speeding tickets behind a Hemi and engine. And yes, you don't have to necessarily speed in a Hemi, but when you are bogged down with foolishness on the job, and a lot of us have been there, you might be trying to get past that. You might be trying to cope with that and not realize that you have accelerated just a bit too much, especially on long stretches when you're listening to music, you vibing out and you trying to protect your peace. Protect your peace from people who know you're the best, people who publicly pre-draft with you extensively and dropped you like a hot potato because supposedly money is an issue. But then when money is no issue and they get you for $4 million, they bury you on the back of the depth chart and treat you like a 4th-string QB. And then we have to listen to endless commentary about how you're a 5th-string quarterback. How from the NFL Network, you can't pick your own jersey because you were drafted in the 5th round. Now the NFL knows damn well Shedeur Sanders is a first round projected draft pick because they have him listed that way to this date. Then if they don't and change it, I got the screenshot. We're not just talking about all the other third party first round projections. We're talking about the NFL itself. So when the organization itself that sent somebody to pre-draft with you extensively, and they themselves, the NFL, have you as a first round pick, a first year starter, and you get locked out of the first round, it can be confusing as to what the hell is going on. But then when they hold you hostage for 3 days, so 7.3 million people could benefit them, but they can use it to publicly humiliate you. You damn right it's an educated attack. It's strategic. It's strategic. So giving Shedeur advice to stay focused. Let me see the Shedeur from Colorado. You already saw it and it didn't matter. Let's be honest about that. Shedeur is exactly who he was at CU, already better. And it doesn't matter how good he is. They know how good he is. Educated attack. I know who you are. What did Coach Prime say? They know who you are. They sure do. They know who you are. Yep, they exactly do. Since you was a little kid. When you was out there throwing the ball with one of the Mannings and his dad. Yeah, they know exactly who you are. They know you want a ball. That's your weakness. You love the game. So they're going to use it against you. That's called an educated attack. It's strategic. And when he has to be bombarded with the media, is one thing, but he could tune that out, right? But then what about when I go to this practice facility and I'm clearly being given the least amount of reps and I'm being treated like a 4th-string QB, and these people not even 3 months ago were going to make me their number 2 pick. So how did I go from being the the number 1 pick, the franchise QB, and in 2 weeks, I'm 144 to the same team for only $4 million. So not only did you choose me, you didn't tell me you didn't choose me anymore. You devalued me. Now you got me for $4 million. And now you treating me out here like you don't know who I am. That's like the Tinder swindler getting next to somebody for profit or for gain, and then using them for everything and discarding them and leaving them broken. Well, luckily he comes from a good home, so he's not broken. He comes from a good family. So yes, this was an educated attack, aka strategic. There is an agenda here. So giving this young man advice to stay locked in and focus, and telling him of all things, telling Shedeur Sanders, well, the greats had to excel first. Oh, that's funny. Because there are people out here salivating over Archie Manning at UT, begging him to come out of school, and he don't even have a damn resume in college to stand on. So why is he worth so much? Why is his skill set in addition to the NFL worth so much? But Shedeur Sanders has to prove himself first. That's some bullshit. Much like Cam Ward has to be the number 1 pick overall, the best QB in the draft, according to Tennessee, and he has to prove himself with the guy that failed last year. And Jalen Milroe doesn't get the opportunity to prove himself because, to use their words, he's buried on the depth chart. Oh, we won't see him this year. When the hell is that the agenda? To bury the best black QB talent. So for all of these people out here who want to act like they mean well and they want to give advice to Shedeur, talking about let me see you be the QB from Colorado, you already see that. Start calling out Cleveland. And people are now saying, well, knowing the owner who makes rash decisions and he's thirsty to have somebody to give the organization notoriety, he probably gonna give Shedeur his opportunity for $4 million when you could have had him for 40. Oh, hell no. That ain't going down without a fight. Go on, do it. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. And then all this that's happening right now, this lame yap, is some extra whatever to distract you from they intentionally devalued him, picked his pockets, and they had planned to draft him for $4 million instead of 40. So all this harassment that he's getting is just fake. to distract you from they rather start him for 4 than for 40. That's called exploitation. Not only is it unethical, it's illegal in business. So for all these people giving Shedeur advice, keep it. Shedeur know exactly what to do. Matter of fact, he's done it already. Shedeur has a mini resume in the NFL if we just want to take what he did at camp. And how do you judge people? Past performance in college, check. Best quarterback came out of college. Most accurate quarterback came out of college. He could have went to Tennessee, but Tennessee act like they didn't know they needed a quarterback. And the only reason they responded at the quarterback position is because their fans made it known. We're going to burn this down if you come back here with Will Levis as the starter. So now they go get Cam, and Cam has to compete with Will Levis. That's dysfunction. Move on from Will Levis. That's exactly what Tennessee was supposed to do. But no, they don't want to move on from Will Levis because they really don't want Cam as their starter, even though he could probably bring them a championship. If I'm not mistaken, let's see. And is Tennessee and Cleveland in the same conference? Which means Cam and Shedeur as starters will be competing to come out of the same conference for the Super Bowl. Because if they coming out of different conferences, shit, I'm gonna go with a Shedeur Cam Super Bowl. I think they might be in the same conference. If not, look out, because it could happen. But see, don't give Shedeur no advice if you're not gonna hold Cleveland accountable, right? If you're gonna sit up and say the greats all had to excel first in the NFL, what? Jaden Daniels is already greatness. He just won Offensive Player of the Year and could have got to the Super Bowl had they had two things: a running back and a defense. What about Saquon Barkley? Greatness has to excel first. Him buried down there in New York, wasting his best years, because that's what they do. Oh, I mean, let me waste your prime. But then I'm out here chasing people in college, and you couldn't be considered great in college. It's funny how some people have to leave behind their college years in success, but they want Arch Manning to drop everything and come to the NFL based on the strength of what? Other than his last name. Something Shedeur Sanders has. Shedeur Sanders has a couple of things working for him in addition to his skill set, his DNA. This is the one time the NFL wants to overlook the DNA. So when you want to give Shedeur Sanders advice, and he has done all he could do, give Cleveland some advice. Stop playing. That's your franchise QB. So you got him for $4 million. So start him and protect him and pay him. So, my thing is, I guess because, the guys are on vacation, people want to sit down and put this on Shedeur. You ain't finna hang this on Shedeur and not hold Cleveland accountable. And if the media don't want to do it, that's where the fans come in at. That's where the fans come in at. And there are some fans talking about a boycott, right? And some say, well, yeah, we want to boycott, but we want to see what they do with Shedeur first. Okay, I'll wait. Because I've seen enough. I've seen enough. The very team that ended up drafting him after he was not on the draft board and got him for $4 million wasn't happy about it, was very condescending, unfriendly, and unwelcoming to him as he walked into a facility where everybody that works there got an email with his phone number on it with a waiver wire attached to it. That same email was used to execute that public humiliation against him by the guy with the Ole Miss sweatshirt that we don't know. See, they hiding Shedeur. And they hiding the prankster too. Why? Why? Why are we hiding Shedeur? And why are we hiding the guy that carried out the public humiliation against Shedeur while the Saints were on the clock with information that the Saints were not drafting Shedeur? Should we talk about that? There's a lot that can be talked about while these guys are on vacation. One is holding Cleveland accountable for the way they are treating Shedeur like he's a four-string quarterback when they pre-draft with him extensively. Who gonna hold Cleveland accountable for that? That's what they need to be talking about. Don't give Shedeur no damn advice. Shedeur has done all he could do. And when he come back to this hostile environment where he's going to be given less and expected to do more for $4 million instead of 40, and you protect him or not, it's going to be a problem. That young man needs to protect his peace. That's what you tell him to do. Enjoy his downtime. because when it's come back, it could be more of the same. And that's very daunting to be staring down the barrel of being intentionally excluded, intentionally held back. So, I'm just saying, it's just one of those things where it's annoying to hear people, it's lip service. It's nothing but lip service, right? It's lip service to say the greats have to excel first, as if he can't be counted as already having a legacy of greatness and bringing it to the NFL. But they want Arch Manning to do the same thing at UT, and he don't even have the legacy of greatness yet. He has a last name. He don't have a complete resume in college to know whether he's going to pan out like they said. But they're hoping and betting and wishing and expecting to because of his last name. But Shedeur Sanders is not afforded the same opportunities. So if you associated with Colorado and you telling Shedeur what he needs to do, when you going to hold out Cleveland? When you going to hold Cleveland accountable for treating somebody that you know to be a first string quarterback like a fourth string? When you gonna call that out? So that's what I'm saying. Arch Manning only had 2 touchdown passes in college, right? And they talking about the franchise quarterback for the Cleveland Browns is in the next draft. Excuse me. They were getting ready to make him their franchise QB. So he right here, and we need to make this right. And I'm serious about this. This needs to be made right some way, shape, or form. And since we already know the NFL not gonna do what's right unless somebody is leaning on them, and it might be outside the realm of the power that a human being can have, then we gonna see what God say about that. That's what we gonna do. Because if you ask me, that's who kicked down the door so he could get in, whether it was because of they greedy or not. They pre-draft him extensively. Wasn't gonna draft him. Got him for $4 million. I ain't happy about it. But suddenly you are fourth string. You pre-draft him extensively as your franchise QB, but now you're treating him like he's fourth string. When did his skill set change? From the pre-draft opportunity at the Shrine Bowl to the damn draft. It did not. So this was also a plot. An educated attack. That's exactly what this is. You don't think they told him things when they kept pre-drafting with him extensively, other than God works in mysterious ways? If you gonna say something like that, then you knew something was gonna go down. That's what that means. So all Cleveland is doing is opening up a can of worms to show us that Shedeur did not fall to them because he was off the board. So how did they get it? And it's challenging the story about him being overvalued for the first round when they pre-draft with him extensively. And it's also challenging the lie that the owner came out and said, we have to bury ourselves under Deshaun Watson, which meant they were getting ready to pivot to Dylan Gabriel because he was cheaper. But then they got Shedeur for less than they got Dylan. And then suddenly the person you were courting at $40 million becomes available at 4 and you ain't happy about it. And you give him the least amount of opportunities. And you say he a 4th-string quarterback, but you were shopping him as your franchise QB. That needs to be rectified. That young man needs to be paid. They are playing in his face. And they feel like they can because he loves the game. And that was before he signed his contract. And now they have his signature. So we got to see what God gonna do. But in the meantime, we gonna be out here calling it out. So look for some more reaction videos because I already got one in queue. Because I'm not just gonna sit here and let people say things and we don't say nothing back. Right? It's called a debate. Bring your best game. Thank you, Marlon, so much. Thank you. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Kimberly, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, Gracie, thank you for holding it down, moderators. Thank you, Gracie, the queen of moderators. Thank you so much. Humiliation and disrespect, right, Kimberly? And, people are saying, oh, well, just, be the guy you were at CU. And, the greats had to excel first. Shut the hell up. I don't hear you saying nothing about the crap going on in Cleveland holding him back. People talking about Shedeur can start. Of course he can. Is Cleveland going to allow him the opportunity? That's the question they don't want to ask. So that tells you the media is in on it. So luckily, Shedeur can tune out the media. I would say luckily he's from a good family, but it's not luck. He was built for this. All of that adversity with him getting knocked down physically has prepared him to deal with getting knocked down unexpectedly in the NFL by people you thought were friends, symbolically, being held back. So Shedeur is going from being knocked down physically by his own O line, betrayed by people on his own team. And I said it, and some of his coaches too. Argue with your mama. To what? Going to the NFL, where his father's a legend, where he grew up around these people, where he was courted and pre-draft extensively with Cleveland as their franchise QB, and now they want to act like, who is this? Who are you? Oh, hell no. Hell no. Hell to the no. And they mad because they got him for $4 million. Are they faking? Oh, this was the plot the whole way. Let's build up his value. Let's court him public pre-draft extensively. We let every team know we pre-drafted. We gonna get Shedeur. He's our franchise QB. Y'all don't worry about him. Blah 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 blah. Maybe that's why the Raiders went and got Geno Smith, because they figured, oh, Shedeur going to Cleveland, and that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a problem. So for all of the people out here giving Shedeur advice, what the hell is your advice for Cleveland? And how they mishandled Shedeur, and how they look like they set him up and intentionally made him fall so they could get him for $4 million. That's illegal. That's who your advice need to be for. And all these countless talking heads, we coming y'all way with reaction videos. That's what we doing this summer. That's what we doing for the next 5 weeks. Every time we see a video, we gonna react to it. That's what we gonna do. Because what they want to do is just put their voice out there and turn their comments off. I already did one reaction video with Mary Cabot, and it was good. So stay tuned for the next one. I think he's in mixed feelings. He wants to play, he wants to win, but he's being judged, shamed, and somewhat mocked. And he may be having a tough time dealing with it privately. Facts. Facts. That's why I'm happy. You know, God's timing is everything, right? So we have Shedeur going through what I say is in a toxic environment, a toxic situation. It's not just the environment. When he first got there, the environment was toxic. We saw that. And I knew that they got that same email like the rest of everybody else in the NFL. So he walked into a toxic environment, and he's in a toxic situation. You know, when you're in a toxic situation, when the people around you don't want you around and they treat you like it and make you feel like you are inconvenienced, and they single you out and they berate you and you're the best, but they hold you back and there's nothing you could do because you have signed your contract, or this is what you want to do, or both. Toxic. There's nothing you can do to change this, and they don't want to change it. And they don't keep pressing on you and leaning on you until you hurt yourself or they hurt you worse. Toxic. I hate he signed this contract. I wish he would have did what Warren Moon did. This is exactly why Warren Moon went to Canada. But see, that's why they draft the best who are black. And do what? Either break them down from dual threats to pocket passers, convert them to wide receiver, bench them, have them sacked excessively, on and on and on, public humiliation, sharing their test results, anything to make them feel like they're less than the stars that they're coming in the league to be, because they're jealous. These black quarterbacks are in a toxic relationship with the NFL. They are in an abusive relationship with the NFL, to the point where they have to strip down to nothing. You can't want the Super Bowl. You can't love the game like you did in college. Because why? You around people every day that's making sure you don't excel back to that. And you gonna hurt yourself trying. Lamar Jackson is talented. Had the opportunity to get this close to the Super Bowl, and what happened? People still scratching their head. Some people know. There are 2,000 people that receive Shedeur Sanders' phone number in the NFL. They know exactly what's going on with Shedeur Sanders. They know why he's a four-string QB in Cleveland. They know why the media is stomping for this foolishness. And as the fans apply pressure, the media wants to walk a tightrope. Oh, y'all moving the goalposts on Shedeur. Maybe he shouldn't have been a fifth string, but he should be a third. Get the hell out of here. That young man was the best one in the draft. But he also was number 17 once they decided Cam was 16. That is what this is about. So why draft him? Because if they don't, he gonna go somewhere else or start his own league. It's called drafting and hoarding. It's hoarding talent. And this is not new. They either hoarding it or destroying it. One of the two. Why is no quarterback the face of the league? I thought they were the kings. Who's Tom Brady right now? Pat Mahomes? Jalen Hurts? And I don't mean in skill. I meant in every time you turn around, Tom Brady in the NFL. Who is that right now? Who is it? Drop the name in the chat. Who's the Tom Brady right now? Not skill wise, but the association when you think of the NFL that they want to build up and who they want you to think about. Who's the person that they give all the leeway to? Who's the person moving the needle in the NFL in terms of who they want to hold up, who they want to be proud of? Who is it? Lamar Jackson? Y'all instantly like, now. See, you know. That means you know. You know he was likely snubbed out of the last. You know he was snubbed out of the last MVP. It should be. He should be a three-time MVP, and he should be who you talking about all the time. His skills are exceptional. It could be Pat Mahomes. It could be. It could be. What does Pat Mahomes have in common with Shador? That they love Pat Mahomes for. That they actually tried to disparage Shador for. Does anybody know? Josh Allen. Okay, there you go. Freeman says Josh Allen. Marlon says Josh Allen. Okay, see, I wouldn't have thought that, but there you go. There you go. Okay, Josh Allen. The one that just got the $330 million. The one that they gave the MVP to. That's their chosen one. And now, what are they doing with Josh Allen? Trying to make him a pocket passer. And they want the rest to follow. And as soon as they get everybody back to pocket passer, guess who they don't want? Dual threats. Shador's a pocket passer. Why they didn't want him? Because he number 17. Or he was to be number 17. Guess who number 17 is? Jackson Dart. See how that worked? They had a choice to make. I could let Shedeur be number 17 and go to Cleveland after Cam goes to Tennessee. And it'll be a historic moment for black quarterbacks in the NFL. For the first time in history, the NFL will have the majority of its starting quarterbacks to be black. They never even talked about it. They talked about it from 2020 to 2024, but they ain't talk about it in 2025. That's what's happening to Shedeur. They playing keep away with the QB1 position because although I didn't draft you at number 17 and you were taken off the board and locked out of the first round, and we put all these hurdles in place so you don't become an inherent QB1, meaning in the first round. First round QBs are QB1, which means Cam should not be competing with the guy that failed or anybody else. That's why you're paying him $48 million. But I'm going to make your life harder. So Shador can still be number 17. And they know it. And that's why you will never see him at QB1 for a majority of the games for Cleveland. You heard it here first. You ain't gonna see that. You could have saw it in 2023. You ain't see that either. What you saw in 2023 with Cleveland is what you getting ready to see in 2025. They rotated all their damn quarterbacks. Three black quarterbacks were rotated through 7 games or 11 games, handed over a 7-4 record. And they took practice squad Joe Flacco, gave him the rest. And when he couldn't be there because he got injured, they gave the last game to somebody else, not the other three that worked together to amass a winning record. Talk about disrespect. They already been here. They know exactly what they're getting ready to do. And so does the media. Yes, Shedeur can start. Of course he can, but he ain't. Because then he would be number 17. Yes, Jackson Dart emerged as 17 and Tyler Shaw 18 instead of Shedeur and Milrow. You see how that works? They flipped it to prevent what? A historic moment for black quarterbacks in the NFL. We already know Jackson Dart, who he is. Hell, they could have had Quinn Ewers. That tell you they don't give a damn about winning. And Tyler Shaw, why not Will Howard? So they playing keep away with the QB1 position. So for all of these people giving information to Shedeur about how we want to see the guy you were at Colorado, we saw your toughness looking directly into the camera, but then you not holding Cleveland accountable for playing keep away with the QB1 position with Shedeur Sanders, who won it outright in a little fake contest after they have Flacco sharing a locker with Jerry Jeudy. Talk about that. Be real or shut the hell up. Call out Cleveland or shut the hell up. Shedeur has done all he could do. He was built for this. He gonna be fine. It says Aaron Rodgers is who's holding back young talent. And let's talk about that. Since I was gonna talk about it separately, let's just talk about it right now. So I already told y'all that Aaron Rodgers has been accused of domestic violence by Danica Patrick. Very heinous acts. She said he leaves a trail of crimson. Then I watched the media go on a cover up mode and basically say she said the relationship was emotionally abusive. Does that sound like only emotional abuse? If anybody says that a situation where there's domestic violence and he leaves a trail of blood, does that sound only emotional? No, it's physical, and they covered it up. Why? Because they wanted him to take the helm in Pittsburgh, right? And then he does what? His family say he has an imaginary bride. And what's the purpose of that? To deflect from what Danica Patrick said so you can start talking about congratulations on your nuptials to somebody that don't exist. And guess what he says today? Because I'm sure he's dealing with the is this going to come out? I'm sure the mental part is weighing on him and all of that. Whether the NFL wants to talk about it or not, is out there. And he got to deal with it up here. Because if you do something like that, if that's who you are, if that is true, what she is saying, and he knows whether it is or not, you ain't gonna be able to fulfill your duties as an NFL QB1. So guess what he says? It's reported that Aaron Rodgers says, "Yep, this is absolutely the last year." So they passed on Shedeur Sanders to end up with this uncertainty. And the truth came out and they wanted to ignore it. So what is Cleveland ignoring? What truth is Cleveland ignoring? That Shedeur is their best QB. That Shedeur is exactly who they pre-draft him extensively to be. Their franchise QB. And they devalued him to the tune of $4 million instead of 40. So that's $36 million. What truth are they ignoring? He's not a fourth round QB. And they want to set themselves up the way Pittsburgh was set up. So for all of those people who were hoping that Aaron Rodgers would block Shedeur, enjoy. Yep, this is absolutely my last year. Let's see what he give it. Because that's what uncertainty sounds like. If you know that this is absolute your last year, you know you can't do much this year. So maybe the plan that they had for Aaron Rodgers in Cleveland can't work because Aaron Rodgers has some stuff he got to deal with. Shannon Sharp left ESPN or was I guess maybe expelled from ESPN so he could go deal with his accusations. Why does Aaron Rodgers get the ability? Knowing the NFL has female fans. Why does Aaron Rodgers get the ability to lead the helm of a team of the most coveted position as quarterback, as one of the kings with allegations like that? And then the whole mysterious married to an imaginary person. And now, after I done told Cleveland, if you draft Shedeur, don't draft me. Don't forget about me. They should have forgot about it. This tells you Mike Tomlin should have drafted Shedeur, and Cleveland and the GM should have been on board with it. I mean, not Cleveland, Pittsburgh and the GM should have been on board with it. Because what you got now, you got somebody that's dealing with something that he should have left and dealt with his allegations, just like Shannon Sharp. You see how that worked? So you do what you think you could do, and God gonna show you what He do. So I hope Pittsburgh have a good season because they could have had Shador. Mike Tomlin could have stopped the slide. The GM and everybody else was all in on it. So he just put uncertainty at their doorstep after months of uncertainty on where he's going when no other team wanted him. And they passed on Shador for somebody that nobody else wanted. So they'd rather have a quarterback that had a losing season last year, who had his best season in 2022, that has allegations of heinous physical abuse and domestic violence at the age of 42 in an imaginary spouse. That's his own family say, no, he not. He ain't married nobody. And that's what you chose. See, that's what happens. See, that's called karma. I hope they go one in whatever many games they play. That's what they need to do. Because they could have had Shador at 21. He said it didn't matter where he went. But no, they wanted Aaron Rodgers to choose where he went. And this story came out and they still could have pivoted. But did they? No, because they think they could do everything in their own strength. And now he just gift wrapped uncertainty. Yep, this is absolutely the last year. Oh, I bet the hell it is. With those types of allegations. And the NFL ought to be ashamed of itself. Nobody else, no other corporation wants that hanging on their head. Oh, nah, we're going to have to pass on you, buddy. Go ahead. Good luck with that. We ain't saying you did it, but you got to deal with that because, that's a lot. We have female fans. We don't want fans who are women who flock to watch the NFL. Some watch their relatives. Some like they players from college. And some just grew up with football. We don't want them feeling like they're not valued because we're choosing to overlook the allegations of you leaving a trail of blood in your relationship, which was physically and emotionally abusive. We can't associate with that. We have to honor our female fans. Domestic violence is no joke, and they should have passed on him. No other team wanted him for a reason, but they forced him to Pittsburgh after they forced Russ out of there. Russ ain't do nothing to nobody. He loved his wife. He don't have no allegations like that. And he took them to the playoffs. And they knew George Pickens was a problem. He's in Dallas. But they wanted Russ gone. This is about black quarterbacks. Instead of Shedeur being 17 to 32, they made Jackson Dart 17 to 32. So for all the people giving out advice to Shedeur, shut up and start calling out Cleveland. Yeah, I agree on Josh Allen. They want him to win a Super Bowl so bad. It's funny how when Josh Allen don't make it to the Super Bowl, they don't have nothing to say. They have sympathy. But when it's Lamar Jackson even trying to get to the Super Bowl and Andrews can't hold on to the ball, it's crickets about Andrews and Baltimore rushes to protect him. He bypassed the media and don't even talk to the media. They talking about they gonna find him. Yeah, okay. We don't even know if that ever happened or not. He gets coddled. Lamar Jackson, you can't win the big one. I'm like, Lamar Jackson good because wouldn't even give a damn about the Super Bowl. I just be out there playing backyard football. That needs to be the goal. Because going to the Super Bowl is for you. And if they know that that's what you want, you ain't gonna get it. They're not gonna let you get that glory. I've been holding you back too long. Colluded against him 3 times. And he out here taking up for Andrews. I ain't heard Andrews say shit about Lamar Jackson. I'm like, Lamar, shh. But that's what they want. Even when they do you dirty, you got to feel sorry for the guy that they probably set up against you. So, mm. Let's see what y'all saying. The story is he's rumored to be traded to Indianapolis for Richardson. Yep, echo that. You talking about Flacco, right? And it makes sense, right? He was just there last year. He played part time last year. I think he played. He started. He played in 8 games. He started 6. See, that's what did I say? He hasn't played a full season since 2017. His last best season was 2014. There's even an article that says what? Flacco was holding the Baltimore Ravens back. And this is who they want. They put these 2% battery lifers in place to block. Just like Aaron Rodgers was sent to Pittsburgh to block Shedeur. Argue with your mama. What's happening down there is karma. Yep, this my last year. I bet the hell it is. Because the longer you in the spotlight, the more this gonna get talked about. And then the more the light gonna shine on the NFL. Just like that Pete Tootsie situation, that pink powder, let one of them women come out and say something. That's called karma. You didn't have to put yourself in this situation, but you was being ugly to Shador, so have fun. Have fun. Talking about, I told the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they choose Shador, don't choose me. I was like, that better not be true. That better be a lie. But apparently it's somewhere with quotes. The audacity. The audacity. And now suddenly, after these allegations surface, the marriage being phony fake surface. Yep, this my last year. I bet it is. I bet it is. And while all of that was happening, oh, he's not gonna be a problem in Mike Tomlin's locker room. See, I told y'all they sat on Mike Tomlin with these problematic players, hoping that it takes down his season, which is why he should have drafted Shador. Because they're gonna try to fire you anyway. Maybe Shador can end up there in the trade. We'll see. But yeah, this is about people giving advice to Shador. We ain't having it, bro. If you're not gonna call out Cleveland, then shut the hell up. It says all over the Buffs influencers. Maybe what coach was telling him to finish strong. Coach Shador, I think, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible, Echo. Yep, you're right. We are the wrench they didn't expect to keep. Oh, yep, this facts. The facts. And I don't want y'all to be worried. If y'all see something happening when I'm trying to go live, uh I don't know what y'all think is sitting around me, but I ain't the only one sitting here. And I'm my own IT person and I'm damn good at it. So it didn't take long. It didn't take long to figure out what the problem was. And you see, we're back. Don't even worry about it. Just keep your notifications on. That's all I can say. And it made me think about that too. Echo, when I was see last night I noticed the lag. And I was instantly thinking this gotta be memory, right? And I was like, okay. So today, when I set up, I noticed, I'm like, okay, because I've had problems with the internet before, right? So, I just quickly, by process of elimination, this is memory. And what was happening is the new software I went to is saving every live stream. And that's just hard. If I go live 3 times a day and I'm live for at least an hour on average, and you saving all of that content, so I just had to dump all of that. And now I got to go change the setting after this live stream because it's saving it in 3 different places. I didn't ask for that. So I need to go check some default settings somewhere. But again, you're dealing with new software. It's gonna happen. And if this didn't work, I was getting ready to hop on a vertical live, which means through my phone. So keep your notifications on and don't worry about it because that message is also for me, right? There are people who don't want to talk about this. There are people, and sometimes you may see we have less people join us or the videos or outlets It's okay. I'm gonna be right here. Don't worry about it. We have a community, and that's what matters. So, like the video. If you're new, subscribe the video. And for those of you that's been following and that are members and supporters, share the video. Share the video to your social media or share the video to another person. Share it to a different platform. Share the video. I mean, we gonna get out there, but I do think that helps. And I agree with Echo. They didn't count on the monkey wrench being us. They didn't count on that. No weapon formed against number two shall prosper. Facts. And that's Cleveland right now. So RIP to their season. When they could have, see, they could be winning, right? Cleveland could be winning. Cleveland should be riding high with Shedeur. And all it's showing me is, you know what? I don't think you was ever gonna draft him anyway. I think the reason why you made all the other teams think that you were drafting him, including him, was because you knew you was gonna get to a point where you remembered you had Deshaun since 2022. But then he gets taken off the board and then pushed way down. And with the Andrew Berry state, we just was gonna see how far he goes. So there was in no hurry. There was no urgency. Like when something unexpected happens, there's a sense of urgency to capitalize. Like, okay, the stock market, prime example, right? They talking about Target stock is gone down to $88 from one something. And my first thought was, oh, I know it's people capitalizing off of that. Because it was unexpected. You didn't want to buy it at 177 or 117, but then it goes down unexpectedly to $88 a share. And what you gonna do? You gonna buy it. You're gonna be like, shit, this is good. I'm gonna get this. That's what I'm saying. That's what they didn't do. So when Shador's value started to drop, there was no sense of urgency by any other team. You know why? Because they knew he was going to be locked out of their first round. They knew his value was supposed to fall. That's what they knew. They knew they were devaluing him intentionally. Why? Because it makes it harder for him based on their theory that he's a fifth string QB, so he can't possibly be QB1. He's fourth string in Cleveland, so why would we give him the most reps? Why would we allow him to truly compete for QB1? Why would we allow him to run with the ones? Because they have no intentions on letting him be QB1. They gonna weave him in a few games to shut up the media, but that ain't gonna work because the unexpected is right around the corner and they have not learned their lesson yet. Lawsuits coming for sure. Yep, Echo. Hey, Freeman. Tennessee and Browns play 12-7. They are in the same conference. Oh, well, they in the same. Okay. Oh, well, so much for them trying to go against each other like that. But 12-7. Where are the NFL Players Association? Okay, that just sounds like a lame duck. Okay, I have come to realize that situation is propped up by gotta be the owners themselves to put people in place to do their bidding. Kind of like what did we say about Jackson State and Tennessee State? We love those schools, right? But the reason why they keep ending up in financial turmoil is why? Because the governors of those states and the legislators underneath the governor have their hands into who's selected and chosen. And they choose melanated faces to shut you up, but they're choosing melanated faces to do their bidding, which is instability, weaponizing instability. That's what Cleveland did in 2023. That's what happens with these two universities. The ones that don't have that type of structure, you don't hear this. You don't hear this. Norfolk State looks like a beautiful campus. I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, now they want to turn Morgan State into a medical school, right? Watch what happens with that. Arch Manning only has 2 touchdowns in college, right? And they act like he's what? Somebody's savior. And he like, I ain't even coming out of school. And they showed a picture of him hanging out, somewhere, with some people, I don't know. And I'm sure they didn't like that. I'm sure they didn't like that. They also don't like the fact that he not coming out of school. They also don't like the fact that he probably chose UT, which tells you he could have went to Ole Miss like the rest. He didn't want to go there. You see who you hanging out with, right? So he already is showing I'm not like that. The unexpected. The unexpected and what God gonna do. That's what we got. And if anybody want to give advice to Shador, tell him to protect his peace and practice self-care and make him realistic about the toxic environment that he's in and how they're playing keep away with the QB1 position, and tell him how to keep his head above water with that and hold Cleveland accountable. Leave Shador alone. Unless the NFL have a union, uh, as badly as these people holding out with these contracts, I don't see no recourse other than the go or not go. I agree, sis. Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. Mia said, is that Mia? Mia said, FYI, the week of the draft on Well Off Media, I heard Shador say he was getting prank calls all week. So he got a new phone number and did not know how to let the NFL know about the new number. And yeah, he gave it to somebody, and then the NFL sent it out to 2,000 people. Thank you for that, Mia. Thank you for that insight. I didn't hear about the pranks before that. And the people that prank called him thought they were calling Shador's phone number. They didn't know that was a draft phone specifically for executives in the draft. Let me say that one more time. For who? I wonder. He know who he gave the number to. He know who he gave the number to. Cleveland doesn't want to be good, great, or anything. Like Cleveland just want to profit off of something. I guess they want to keep making $500 million a year. They don't want to get to a billion. They can get to a billion with Shador. Tell me they can't. They can get to a billion with Shador. They don't even want that because they don't want Shador and black quarterbacks to be historic this year. This not just happening to Shador. We're talking about it because it's the most egregious. It was the most extreme in the draft. It's the most obvious of everybody that's now at their respective team. There are people like myself talking about Cam competing with Will Levis. That don't make no sense. There are local people that have called that dysfunction. So stop putting this on these players' shoulders. And if you're going to have a platform and you're going to press record, call out Cleveland. And it's not enough to say people are moving the goalposts, right? People are moving the goalposts. But then you call Shador a third round draft pick. Shut the hell up. You just lip service. You trying to call out other people for doing exactly what you doing. Yeah, we doing reaction videos. That's what we doing. We in summer mode, vacay mode. If they say something, we reacting. Turn your notifications on, and I'm making videos, putting them out. We talking about them on here because they just want to spew hatred and negativity and more defamation and all types of derogatory statements about this young man, and they don't want nobody to say nothing back. So they turn off their comments. They don't expect people to react to what they're saying. All they expect is comments. And then when they turn their comments off, they don't want nothing. Well, I got news. That's what I want to talk about. Was Pat Shermer in on it too? Did he speak up on his behalf? I believe he did. And if he didn't, I think we would find out pretty soon. Somebody said, Pat Schumer said that he was comparable to Daniel Jones. Now, I don't know how true that is, but that's crazy. That's crazy. Uh, I have heard Shador comparable to a couple of people, Joe Burrow, Geno Smith. I knew what that Geno Smith was about. That just meant they was gonna pass him around the league. And one person I asked y'all, what does Pat Mahomes have in common with Shador? What is it they like Pat Mahomes? What do they like about Pat Mahomes? Did anybody put it in the comments? So K Hayes, I don't know about that. We're gonna have to see what happens with that. Ashley is another Browns reporter that had a mouthful to say. Oh, so now Ashley got the baton since they moved Mary Catherine out the way and put Daniel Oyefuse out there. Okay. I don't think they like Pat's wife and brother. Oh, they definitely don't like his brother. They definitely don't like him. I'm sure they like his wife though. She told they were on a show together, like a couple show, like the GQ show, where you ask your couple your spouse questions about them, and he asked her, "What's my favorite food?" She said fried chicken. And he looked at her like, no. I was like, and that's what you chose. Okay. All right. And then you saw what happened in the Super Bowl and he ran off and cut his hair. So I think he tired. I'm like, it ain't too late to get a divorce, brother, because that's crazy to be living with that. Like that's nuts. What they like about Pat Mahomes is the fact that he extends plays. That is exactly who Shedeur Sanders is. And what people are saying is even the greats had to excel first. The NFL does not want quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders now, 2025. So I'm gonna get you for $4 million and I'm gonna bet you and I'm gonna let you start when black quarterbacks are no longer a threat to taking over the league at the QB1 position for the majority. That's the play. Pat Mahomes and Shedeur Sanders have the same abilities to extend plays. That's what people like about Pat. That's what people say made won so many games, but that's what they shun Shedeur for. It's timing with Shedeur. What is his song? Perfect timing. It's perfect for him, but not for them. And I think he knows this. And if you don't, Shedeur, if you see this video, use your burner account and hit the like button. Uh, cause that's what you're going through, buddy. It's nothing you could do different. Go out there every day and be your best for yourself. Keep proving to yourself, cause they do not want you to get to QB1 and don't hurt yourself trying. Just be your best and let God do the rest. You do what you can do and you let God do the rest, cause that's who has the last say so on if you get to QB1 for the majority of the games. And it could be in your best interest that don't happen. Don't even worry about it. Protect your peace. Be real about your reality, about your environment, and just prove to yourself who you are and let God do the rest. That's all you got to do. Yeah, I agree on Josh Allen. They want him to win the Super Bowl bad. Yup. NFL doesn't market their talent correctly. After Aaron Donald won MVP, Max Crosby, and the next year, Myles Garrett tore the league up to a defensive end already wanted. Those got burned. Speaking of got burned, okay. I have Netflix, right? So I've been watching Netflix. And uh y'all know I watch a lot of documentaries. And for some reason, the Steve McNair story, what happened about, to him came up. Now I already watched it in some way, shape, or form, right? So I was like, okay. So I might have made it through halfway through. And kind of had heard most of the stuff. Jeff Fisher was in there, and I was like, why is he in there? Right. And I stopped watching it. And then it came back. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. So I had to get all the way to the end to learn two things. I had to learn that Jeff Fisher, after Tennessee almost won the Super Bowl, the guy cursed. The wide receiver was like a foot away from the goal line. They dismantled that team and sent Aaron McNair to Baltimore. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You mean to tell me Tennessee moves from Houston to the Titans move from, or the Oilers move from Houston to Tennessee? They have a record breaking season. Fans are out there waiting in line to buy tickets to get to the Super Bowl. All this is happening in like one of their first seasons, I guess, right? Where the city is getting to know. Imagine you get a new football team and they go all the way to the Super Bowl. And you have this stud of a quarterback and Steve McNair, a baller, right? Dual threat. And y'all get this close. And people don't say Tennessee lost the Super Bowl. They say Tennessee almost won the Super Bowl. And that's not a big market, right? Tennessee is not a big market. Just like the Memphis Grizzlies is not in a big market, the Titans are not in a big market for TV, right? So after I heard them, Josh, what's his name, Jeff Fisher, say something about, yeah, we, sent the Steve McNair to Baltimore. What's that? And then I heard this: Steve McNair had to be co MVP with Peyton Manning. There have only been two co-MVPs in the history of the NFL. Do y'all know who they were? Barry Sanders and Brett Favre and Steve McNair and Peyton Manning, all within from 97 to 2003. That very, very short window. And it's never happened again. And I'm like, why would Barry Sanders have to share a MVP with Brett Favre? Played in the Super Bowl against Tennessee when Steve McNair and the Titans almost won. Was Peyton Manning the quarterback on the other side, and that's why they split up the co-MVP? Was Barry Sanders in the Super Bowl against Brett Favre, Detroit and Green Bay, and that's why they had to share the co-MVP? Please enlighten me, because y'all know where I'm going with this. This has only happened twice in the history of the NFL. And I was like, wait a minute. Played in the Super Bowl against Tennessee. Was it the other guy, Peyton? Is that why they made them share it? Because they both went? I've never heard of a co-MVP. It's not lost on me. The timing, they said 97 to 2003. It's not lost on me that Barry Sanders had to share with Brett Favre. Barry Sanders is black. It's not lost on me that Steve McNair had to share with Peyton Manning, and Steve McNair's almost Super Bowl winning team got dismantled and he was sent to Baltimore? Who does that? You know what I said last night? We were talking about it here. I said, I have never seen the Kansas City Chiefs dismantled. I heard Jeff Fisher say something about it's hard to get back there. So we made the decision to dismantle the team. What? What? Didn't I say they're doing the same thing to the Philadelphia Eagles, who don't have any primetime slots at the top? They don't have, they're not ranked top 3 for primetime slots. Didn't I say they dismantled that team with a quickness, making it harder for them to get back? That's what they did to Tennessee. And after that, seemingly Jeff Fisher got released. It's a lot there. If it pop up on my feed again, I'm going to have to do some research. That's the third time. Who knows anything about this co-MVP? Barry Sanders sharing with Brett Favre. Steve McNair sharing with Peyton Manning. That's crazy. That sounds crazy. And it's only been done. That's it. Those are the only times that's ever been done. It said Tyler Shaw is demanding a guaranteed 4-year contract. Based on what exactly? I mean, the whole second round is demanding a guaranteed contract because the first two guys in the second round got their contracts guaranteed. So this is how this works. The first round, I think the entire first round, their contracts are guaranteed. The entire first round, not just Cam, not just Travis. And we know Travis just orchestrated something where he gets his signing bonus up front. So his contract may have been guaranteed, but they wanted to pay out his signing bonus in installments. Okay. Which is stupid because it's a signing bonus. So Travis was right to challenge that, and he won, right? With Coach Prime's help. And now you have, for whatever reason, two people. One plays for Cleveland and the other one plays for the Texans, the same two teams involved in the Deshaun Watson situation. Their contracts are guaranteed. Now, Deshaun Watson is the only veteran with a fully guaranteed contract. And here it is, and that was in 2022. Here it is in 2025. Two players, the first two players in the second round, associated with both teams where Deshaun Watson emerged from and went to, whatever, the Texans and the Browns. Only those two. So the rest, there's 32 people in the second round as well. So 30 of 30 people in the second round, all but two, are asking for fully guaranteed contracts. Because why did you give these two fully guaranteed contracts? What is that about? Rightfully so. If the whole first round has contracts, why shouldn't the whole second round, if you're going to give the first two people guaranteed contracts? So that's a valid point. It's not just him, it's the whole second round. But that's their karma. So let them work that out. When you say Mike Trout is, it is no question. When you say Messi, oh, okay. When you say Mike Trout, it is no question. When you say Messi, no question. When you say Clarissa Shields, facts. They even had me watching that. No question. NFL face, nothing but questions. Right. And who are the kings? The quarterbacks. So why you don't have one of the kings? Oh, I'm sorry. Why you don't have the king from this year? All over the place. Cam Ward. Why you don't have the king from last year? Caleb Williams, all over the place. Why you don't have him all over the place? Who was in 2023? That's what they get, sis. Aaron Rodgers is washed. Right. Nobody else wanted him. Whether it was his skill set combined with his decline statistically. He had his best year in 2022. He a locker room menace. And then these allegations, maybe they heard what she said and they feel like he need to go deal with that. So they were forcing that onto Mike Tomlin. He's not. He's black. He gets the problematic players to the point where it is a joke. If Mike Tomlin calls you and says, I have a player for you, hang up. So Mike Tomlin is doing the best with some people that they know are problematic. That's intentional. He's never had a losing season with the problems that he's had in the locker room. But then they force out Russell Wilson. So, it's just really sad, the situation that Shador is in, because he doesn't deserve this. He didn't ask for this. This is not how it goes. This is not par for the course. This is not the status quo. This is preventing uh, a historical event from happening. It's preventing NFL fans turning on their TVs, and out of half the games they watch, both of the quarterbacks are black. That's what it's preventing. It is preventing that. Shador needs to just do his best and rest. Right. Thank you, Amber. Yeah, rest. Look, just take this year and just focus on your spirituality, because you probably don't need it. If you're going to be in this league, you're going to need it. Look at Russell Wilson, sacked 100 times while in Denver. At the same time, then they want him to take out his injury clause, right? This is the perfect opportunity to know your black NFL quarterback history. If they got books out there, read their books, get to know these guys, reach out to them, listen to their stories, because you're going to see, Shador's going to see himself in some of these people's stories. Marlon Briscoe, that's the one right now that comes the closest with him being good and winning in Denver, and it wasn't enough. We don't want you to be our quarterback. Now it's 2025. The NFL does not want quarterbacks, plural, like Shedeur Sanders now. Emphasis on timing. That is the same thing the Denver Broncos told Marlon Briscoe. We don't want you to be our quarterback. They didn't, because he black. They didn't mind him being a linebacker or Jim Brown, but the quarterback, no. That's special. They have it labeled as a thinking man's position. So in 2025, you telling me that the best quarterback in college can't think? Is that why they didn't want Cam in Tennessee? Is that why they want to bury Miro? Call out the damn NFL and the Cleveland Browns. Don't give Shador no advice. Shador's good. Help him protect his peace. Stand behind him. And call out the damn NFL in Cleveland for their bullshit. That's what you do. Young Money is Lil Wayne's agency. Yeah. Yes, that's who Travis is represented by. But Travis said his wife was his lawyer. So we're going to see what that looks like. See, here's what people need to understand, okay? The 4-year contract, the rookie contract, is the one, like Travis's, his dollar amount didn't change, right? It was going to always be what it is based on the incremental scale that happens every year. You could go back and look at 23, 24, 25, see it goes up by this much amount, and you could project with Travis's would be, what Cam's would be. What Travis orchestrated wasn't more money. What he, because that's, they're not gonna negotiate that part. That's why they use the salary scale based on the round, which is how they weaponize rounds. Um, and he orchestrated something that, to me, somebody else should have been challenging. Uh, my signing bonus is for me signing with y'all. So I need to get it right now. They were wanting to phase it out, which again is making these contracts one sided. And while 4% of 40 million is cool, they for the big fish. They want his 5-year contract. Travis, honestly, depending on how this go, it wouldn't surprise me if he out in 4 years. We're gonna have to see how this go. Because they screwed him on the way in. They screwed him on the way in. You could have been gave him that. They was holding out. He had to go fishing with Coach Prime for it to go viral, for them to go, oh shit, let me get Travis' contract together on a weekend. They screwed him on the way in. So his MO right now should be, go out there, play for yourself, make sure you don't get hurt. And in 4 years, seriously consider moving on. Start your own league. Why keep giving them time? Because the people hanging around you because they waiting to get to 5 years. There's nothing they can do for him right now. There was nothing they could do for him, period. That should have came up the moment he got that contract. If the representation is supposed to be effective, or maybe it did. Maybe it did. But the point is, they couldn't change nothing. That, you could tell me to do that. They ain't have to do it. But okay. But he said his wife is his lawyer. That's what he said. He ain't giving shout outs to nobody else. He gave shout out to his wife. I agree. I really wish somehow he has some leverage. That is what needs to be strategies. Yeah. And he does have leverage. We just don't know what it is. And it's probably called the unexpected. And us. That's his leverage. Us. Let's be clear about that. We're his leverage. What did Mary Catherine say? Oh, you have a fan base that's loud and proud, which means she think we all black. She think everybody. She think all his fans are only black. Divine timing is definitely perfect. Right. The song is perfect. Perfect timing, right? What he went through at in Colorado, people trying to take him down, people that know him. That's betrayal. He survived that, didn't he? Came out on top, came out the best, right? He gonna survive this too. The difference with that is it's college. So you thinking it's about my dad, right? But they took it out on you if it was about your dad. And now it's the NFL where you think it's a haven because your dad played. He's legacy. Everybody know you. You know these people. Didn't Shiloh say he and Ric Flair knew each other, and he remember what he looked like when he was younger? These guys are not strangers to these people. Definitely not Peyton Manning, because I saw him in the video showing the ball around. You know who mentored him. They refused to acknowledge that Shedeur was mentored by Tom Brady. So how could you doubt him? They don't even want to consider that aspect. They just want to hold him back. And he just has to accept the fact that if they are allowed to hold him back as he grows in his spirituality, then that's for his own good and God's glory. That's how he got to look at this. There is no other way. So they holding him back because of what I said, 17-32. They are playing keep away with the QB1 position. He has to understand what comes with that. Don't hurt yourself trying to do anything. Protect your peace and be ready if God decides to open the door. That's all you could do. Go out there, ball out like you did in camp, which means you were trying to prove something to you. That's all you could do. Do what you could do, and God gonna do the rest. Mary Kay called his fans a what? A rabid fan base. A what? That's why her comments off. I said, I was talking to somebody on Instagram and they sent me a story and I said, yeah, I just did a reaction, or they saw the reaction I did. If y'all haven't watched the video, I did a reaction to Mary Cabot talking about a reaction to some interview. Please go watch it. Um, it's good. And somebody said they saw it. They told me, when you gonna do the next one? I'm like, all right, that's what we doing for the next 5 weeks. That's gonna be a part of what we talking about. My performance and overall stability rose after not wanting to supervise 15 to 20 people in an isolated location, doing hybrid work and going to area was better for me. Right. So listen to what James just said. Going from area to area. I told y'all that some people in the NFL have likened him to Geno Smith, which means they're gonna make him go from team to team to team. So if that's the case, what is and that is better for him because the environment gonna be different every time. He gonna meet new people. He gonna start over. He gonna refine his process to perfection. That's a good thing. That's why I don't have no Cleveland merch. I already said at the end of this season they were going to trade him. I've already said that. I've already said too that at the beginning of the season they could cut him at the last minute so he could go somewhere else and doesn't have time to learn the playbook. Therefore, playing keep away with QB1. So they might be about to waste his best years or his prime, like the New York Giants did Saquon Barkley. That's why Saquon Barkley said what? Don't be surprised if I wake up and say I'm retired. He did all he could do, and they held him back. And then he goes over here and he wins. You know what that says? Y'all were holding me back from this. So why should I continue to abuse my body and my mental for you? You shouldn't. They didn't even want to let him get his record. They could have let him do that. If you think he that fragile, then what the hell? He ain't gonna make it anyway. And nothing happened. They just kept him from it. So his attitude is right, and I hope he's serious. Jalen Hurts just dropped a book, a children's book. See, I like Jalen. He went back and got his master's. He dropping a children's book. He has a life. They dismantling his team. So what? He's still getting to accomplish things. Football isn't his only sense of accomplishment. You see Shiloh doing his thing. See, they want you to be Mr. Football, but they want to treat you any kind of way. No, these guys better start moving smarter. I'm proud of Jalen Hurts. Football is the game he loves. And the way they treat him, he might not love it much longer at this level. But if Coach Prime does trademark a pro league, which means it's applying pressure and adding real competition to a pro league that can be truly viable, maybe they'll get it right. But see, I'm the kind of person, once you betray me, I'm done. I might speak to you, but I ain't gonna never trust you. Not with my life, not with my body, not with my mind, not with my health. No. So what James is saying is probably the best course of action for Shedeur to get up out of Cleveland. But I just heard today the owner makes rash decisions and he wants to be relevant. So they talking about, I think Shedeur gonna get his shot, but not because Shedeur is QB1. He gonna get his shot. What did I say they gonna do? The 2023 season. Rotate him through, but never give him enough that he's QB1. The only way they gonna be able to bench him is if the fans stay silent. If they put him in there and he win 2 games like they did PJ Walker, and then they take him out and put somebody else, they gonna disrupt things. That's called weaponizing instability. If they let Joe Flacco start, he ain't gonna be around for the end. But they are not gonna let Shedeur play in front of Dylan Gabriel because they want to stand by. You're a 5th-round pick, even though they know exactly who they is, which means Cleveland is guilty as hell for this whole plot. They were in on it from the jump. So thank you for that, James. That was excellent. Thank you. Him moving around, we should be happy about that. Jalen Hurts was done wrong, even in Alabama. Yep, I plan to purchase his children's books. That's a good idea. I was thinking about getting a few and donating it to like maybe a school. Can you do that? Can you donate books to a school, like an elementary school? I think that would be nice. Roger Goodell warned Shador at the Super Bowl that they worried about his dad. Everything was coming down the pipeline even before the Super Bowl. Yeah, he said it, but that wasn't a warning. I think he was playing in his face. Because if you worried about his dad, then you knew what they was going. That means he knew what they was going to do to Shador. You see how that worked? I'm worried about your dad. Why are you worried about Coach Prime? Because of what they gonna do to Shador. That wasn't a warning. That was playing in his face. That's why I said he knows these people. He's dealing with a lot. So what we need to do is try to drown out the voices, call out the voices, react to the voices with videos, and point out the obvious. Well, that's what I'm gonna be doing. That's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm finna use these debate skills. Um, so yeah, Jalen Hurts was done wrong. Cause like I said, Kansas City just lost the Super Bowl. Did they dismantle the Kansas City Chiefs? Philadelphia won. They dismantled Philadelphia. Tennessee almost won. They dismantled. Oh, I'm sorry. They moved Steve McNair to Baltimore. The same time he's sharing a co MVP with Peyton Manning. And if I'm not mistaken, Peyton Manning is the same quarterback that they used to shun Dante Culpepper. It was all about Peyton Manning when he came into the league. Now, mind you, that's what they want to do with the grandson, but he proved nothing yet. He proved that he might be different. He proves he makes his decisions based on what the hell he want to do. He didn't want to go to Ole Miss. He went to UT. He chose where he went. He went. He has also said he ain't coming out of school. And from what I saw in that video, he was having him a good time with people that they are holding back in the NFL. See how that worked? I'm trying to see who Tennessee played. Who did the Tennessee Titans play in the Super Bowl? I'm just curious. The St. Louis Rams. I don't recall Peyton Manning playing for the St. Louis Rams. So why the hell would Steve McNair, who went to the Super Bowl and played against the Rams, have to share co-MVP with Peyton Manning, who did not go to the Super Bowl? You see? You see? And then he gets shipped off to Baltimore. Weaponizing instability. Thank you, James. We should live out loud on the NFL website asking the hard questions. Yeah. Truth, what did they say? Truth. Oh, that truth. Truth ain't true. Truth ain't true. I like that. That's a nice name. We gonna live out loud on this platform. Uh, yep. I already got a reaction video in queue. Stay tuned. We'll be back tonight at 9:30 p.m. 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just turn your notifications on. It's summer. I'm trying to live too. So turn your notifications on. But we're gonna try to keep our schedule within an hour of the time that we start, so we can keep up with our consistency. You only have one life, so you got to live it. All right, y'all, that's it. This was awesome, great engagement. If anybody can find out why it is Peyton Manning had to share MVP, Steve McNair had to share co MVP with Peyton Manning, or let me know, because I don't see it. I don't see it. All right, y'all. This was awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marlon, for the support. Thank you. We just upgrading this channel and doing what we gotta do. It's a here little song brought back from Hawaii. You just get back from Hawaii, Marlon? That's awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And you have to let us know, if you're still in the chat, what was your best memory? We're happy to hear it. All right. And if y'all have something to celebrate, don't be afraid to share it in the chat so we can celebrate you. We'll be back tonight at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Turn on your notifications because it's summertime. Yep. All right. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports.